Ciao ragazzi, this is Katie Portanova, and you're listening to Florence and Me. I'm a lover of stories and all things Italian, and I'm going to bring you all that in this podcast. My intention is to inspire you to step out of your comfort zone and explore life and travel the world. Join me as I tell you my story and many others about Italy and my love, Florence. Andiamo! Ciao a tutti! I'm back for another episode, and it's 4 days until our next trip to Tuscany. I'm going to talk about something rather not upbeat today. This past week, my grandmother, Nana, as her name is, she passed. And you might have heard me talk about her in earlier episodes. She was 91, so she lived a long life. Her dementia went downhill as the pandemic hit. And during the pandemic, and she was in assisted living, then she went to a nursing home. So it's been really hard the past few years, just knowing that she was close to her passing and close to passing on to the spiritual world. And I wasn't really ready to let her go. I was and I wasn't, because I know she was done with the body that God gave her, because her body was shutting down, and as we age, that's what happens. So I got to see her on Friday. She was still awake and knew who I was. She wasn't that far gone. She held my hand so tight that it's like she didn't have dementia. Because the past few years have been really hard because I know she's not there. Her spirit was slowly seeping out of her body. Those of you that probably have had a loved one go through dementia or Alzheimer's, it's a debilitating disease, as we all know. And it's horrible to see a loved one like that. So that was my experience the past 2-3 years now of seeing her alone, scared. I was just praying to my papa, who had passed 10 years ago, to take her as quickly as he could. But my Nana held on like an Italian woman does. Very feisty. So, she really inspired me at a young age. I remember my great-grandmother, my nonna, what we called nonna, come over from England, because that's where they settled, and my great-grandpa, come over. There was a very big, we were a very close-knit family at a certain point, at one point. And especially when we were young and as grandchildren, we looked up to our elders, and we looked up to, knowing that I had a great grandmother in England, and she was born in Italy, and my great grandpa, and it was a huge thing for me. I'm not going to say everybody, my cousins, my siblings, but it was always a big deal. I remember dressing up in our Sunday's best to go see my nonna, my great grandpa, for Easter and all the holidays that they came for. And it was special. And my Nana made sure that we knew that it was special. And my, my mom and my aunts and stuff like that. So, anyway, what I'm getting at is that the reason why I started Truly Italy is because my heritage is still there. My grandmother's relatives, distant relatives, cousins, second cousins, third cousins, whatever, are all still in Emilia-Romagna, in that region, in the town of Ferneta, in Toano, in Monteferino. They're still there. So I want to still be connected to that land And also the fact that I love it there. And the wine and the food and, all the fun things. And I want to tell you a few stories, but when I first decided to move abroad in 2009, actually 2008 is when I really decided to move abroad, but my Nana was kind of confused because she was like, why would you want to go back there? You live there as a student. I studied abroad in 2002, 2005. I spent the summer there to learn Italian. 2007, I was a nanny for a lovely family in Florence. She's like, why would you want to do that? I'm like, well, Nana, I love it there. And, my Nana came from a time, she was born into a war. So she grew up during World War II. She remembers rationing. She remembers, saving enough food for her brothers, all that stuff that goes on during war time. Obviously one would say, why would you want to go back and relive a horrible, horrible nightmare? But I had to remind my Nana that, it's not like that anymore. And luckily in 2007, when I was a nanny, me and my cousin Alina bought tickets for my papa and my Nana to visit my Nana's hometown for the last time in the sense that, okay, she was at the time in her 70s, maybe? Yeah, probably. Yeah. And since my great uncle, my Uncle Larry, or Zio Lorenzo, which I like to call him, he has a house on Lake Como, we thought we would make it a really nice siblings trip with my Uncle Frank, her older brother, my Nana's older brother, Uncle Larry, and Uncle Lou for some reason wasn't there. I don't know why again. And then Aunt Rosetta was there, Jane was there. It was a beautiful, beautiful time together. And the fact that I got to go to Farneta with my Nana to see her hometown, which was amazing. Actually looking at the town through her eyes, she just remembered things about her town that it's just a one street, guys, a really tiny mountain town. And there's the bar, there's the posta, there's a bakery, there's a cafe, there's it's so small. But my Nana, she always told me her house was right next to the church and it was damn straight next to the church. And she was so proud that day. I remember her being so proud, apart from the fact that her cousin Izide should have made her pasta, should have made us something. She only gave us some sassolino and some cookies, but she was very upset about that, as if you know Nana, she always wanted to be fed by somebody. So the fact that her cousin wouldn't feed us anything, whatever, but she was so proud of her town. And I remember taking a picture of her in front of her church, standing very proudly, and then going into the bakery. And the woman looked at her, and I forget what she exactly said to my grandma and my Nana. And she actually, basically what happened is the woman's like, are you Maria or Desalina? She remembered her as Desalina, which is the name of my cousin. And she's like, yeah, why? And she's like, well, we were friends when you were here. And see, remember, my Nana left at 14. So all these women that still remained in the town. So... And when she said, yeah, we had sleepovers together, we did this, I don't remember her name, but I remember my Nana coming back to the car going, one, that she didn't cut the bread, because she got some bread, and she was upset about that. And two, she's like, I don't have no idea who that person was. I'm like, well, it's been 50 some years. I'm sure you would have remembered her if, I don't know if she was more important. Who knows, if closer. But this woman was so sure that it was Nana was the friend that she had a sleepover with. And she said her last name, Yori. And she's like, yeah, I'm Yori, yeah. And so she's like, oh, yeah, I know you. What was very, very moving for me when we went to Freneta is we got to see her best friend who was bedridden. We're not really sure what ailment or disease she had, but she couldn't speak. But I took a video of them chatting, and my Nana chatting. And Also an amazing thing also to hear is like my Nana like talking Italian like most of that trip was like so cool because my Nana stopped speaking Italian for obvious reasons that my papa did not want her to speak it because he didn't understand it, he didn't know it, and Nana never really kept it up. So even when Stefano moved over with me, like Stefano tried to speak to her in Italian, she speak a little bit, but she'd go right back to English. It just became second nature to just speak English. But yeah, going back to her friend, like they were both crying, like and she's like, you know, better late than never. Like we were best friends. You remember? Like I was 14 when I left, and like she's like, this is what happens to us. It's something like we just all keep getting older, like stuff like that. And we left that house, and I remember my Nana saying, because she's a little brat, but she's like, oh my God, I can't believe she stayed married to that guy. He slept with everybody or something like that. Like, oh, he was horrible. He was so mean and blah, blah. I'm like, okay, all right, Nana, that's enough. Yeah, so that was the whole trip. I can go on and on about what, like, her seeing Florence for the first time, like, seeing the Ponte Vecchio. That was, like, her favorite thing was the Ponte Vecchio. And on her deathbed, like, I actually asked her, I'm like, do you remember us going to Como with Uncle Larry and Uncle Frank? She's like, yeah, oh my God. Like, she remembered. So that made my heart feel good, especially because her short-term memory was way far gone, a long time ago. Anyway, my earliest memories of my Nana, when we were able to spend the night at my Nana's house, which was awesome because we had chores. Because my Nana had 4 cats. My papa had 2 parakeets and fish, a fish tank full of fish. And at the time, I think she had, when I was really young, she had Whiskey, and then she had Penny, which was 2 dogs. And it was always like, she had so many like fun things to play with. If it wasn't her makeup we'd play with, or her jewelry, you know, we go downstairs and play in the basement and play bartender with Papa's bar, or like, I don't know. We did a lot of fun things. And my favorite thing was getting up in the morning with her early and feeding her cats. And I remember I always had to wait for her to get up if I got up before her. Usually she slept with me, so I would wake her up if she wasn't awake. She slept with me and my sisters and stuff. So we can feed the cats, because the cats stayed downstairs, and like, anyway. That was the funnest thing. I liked doing that. I liked going into her garden. She had this like wild garden with a gate because the bunny rabbits would get in there and get her vegetables and stuff. And we take these really long walks with Penny, her dog, around the neighborhood, and then go to the park and like go down the big, huge, very like death-defying slide. You know, those from the 80s and 90s that they don't exist anymore. Yeah, it was such a good time. It was such a good time. And I can still hear her like just singing, like she used to sing You Are My Sunshine song over and over again to us, even to put us to bed. And my Nana was a huge like lover of animals, so she was always getting a new stray cat. If they weren't coming to her house, which a lot of them did, like because my Nana would leave food out all the time, she would find animals, like stray animals, like stuck or in a garbage can. Like my favorite tiger, like she found in a garbage can at a frat house, and she worked at a frat house for a while as a cook. She just had she just loved animals. And I think obviously I've got that from her as well, because she bestowed on me that love of gardening, animals, and yeah. She was great. I still can't believe she's gone. As I look at her picture, I still can't believe she's gone. But I know she's happier, and I know that these things happen, right? You can't not, I mean, we're all gonna die. Can't get past it. So, yeah, I thought I'd be a little bit more emotional, but I think I've really I've metabolized it a little bit more, and I've like kind of marinated with the fact that she's gone. But I mean, even yesterday I was cutting up some cheese and I was thinking, God, I'm never going to have to bring her back cheese from Italy again. I used to bring her back vacuum sealed like cheese, like a round, like a wheel of cheese. Like I'm never going to hear her voice on the phone again. Like I can just get myself to start crying, but she was really special. And the last thing I said to her before I left her on Friday was like, can you please stay with me when I move to Italy? And she's like, yes. And she grabbed my face with her really weak hands as I cry. And she's like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. She kept saying that over and over. I'm gonna be okay. But it's never easy. And that's why I'm also writing a blog post about this, and I've titled it, You're Never Prepared. Because you're not. As much as you think you are. You know, life is fleeting. Life is precious. We only have so much time and to live it to the fullest. All those cliche things. But it's true. And that's why, like, I'm trying to, like, get away from people that are, or things and people, ideas, whatever, that are negative and sad and kind of make me feel that I can't, that I'm not enough. Because she always believed in me. So did my papa and my mas and my papa, all my grandparents. Like, they were always very, like, big cheerleaders up there in the clouds now. It's not worth being with and around people that put you down. My lesson for the day. Like, be around people that light you up. Because what's meant for me won't miss me. My favorite quote. Another quote I love is, you only live once. And anyway, I thank you for sharing my grief with me. Those of you that are on my email list, I got a lot of nice emails. I haven't gotten back to all of you, so thank you for those that listen and read my emails. I appreciate it. Life goes on. But just, it's nice to remember where you came from. And, why you start things and why you continue on. Because that's what I'm going to do. With Truly Italy, I'm going to continue on. And the light and the love that she gave me, I hope to give to all my clients and my participants in my retreats, and share with them just the beauty that is Italy and the beauty that is being present. Because in moments like that, when somebody passes, you have to be present. Because that's it. That time's gone and she's gone. Anyway, I'm going off on tangents now. So, all I want to say now is that I am going to Italy on Tuesday, September 20th. Whenever you listen to this, I don't know when you listen to this. I'm very excited because it's our first retreat, and I'll have my husband with me. Stefano will be with me. And I'm really excited, as much as the tears are still coming down my face. But I'm really, really excited. First thing I'll do when I get to Florence is I'm going to go to my church. And I'm going to light a candle for my Nana. I never got to take her to that church. I don't think. I don't remember if I took her and Papa that time we went. I don't think we had time. But I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to share Italy with these people that equally love Italy and are excited as well. And on Stefano's birthday, October 2nd, we have another celebration. So Ilaria, Stefano's sister, will be getting married. It'll be very happy. A little sad because Alme is not here, but very happy. And then before I know it, I'll be back here, back home outside of Chicago. As much as I don't want to be, but gotta be with my kitties. My kitties will be missing me. My 3 kitties. I don't really talk about them a lot on this podcast. I'll bring them up more. They're my loves. I love them to death. I got my Maya's. Yep, she's sleeping over there. She's with me. Anyway, but I want to thank you again for listening. All of you that are listening. I moved my podcast to a different streaming, upload service. It's mostly with Spotify, so I'm seeing a lot of, more people listening. So I appreciate it. I really do. And I hope I'm giving you information that you enjoy and you find valuable and helpful as you travel to Italy and travel all over the world. Yeah. So I think that's all I wanted to say. Grazie. Grazie mille. Buongiorno. Buonasera. Buonanotte, wherever you are. And I will see you. Maybe I will have an episode in Italy. I don't think I'll be that I'm not that good at doing that. But maybe. That would be fun. But if not, I'll report back when I get back. A presto. Ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao. I am beyond grateful for you listening to my podcast right now. I am so excited to share my journey of living abroad and all of my stories of Florence and Italy and all the places in between that I've visited. If this has reached you in any way and you would like to continue, please subscribe now. Also, go check out my website, trulyitaly.tours, for all my travel experiences. Ci si vede. Ciao.